disperse the crowd. What you'll see right now is another section of the streets. You'll see they're throwing rocks right now. They've decided to close another part of the street. They've moved a little bit further down. They've closed the street after the rubber bullets were fired, with JMPD attempting to disperse the crowd, as was the initial agreement, was that today's protest was expected to be over at 4 o'clock. But right now it would seem that then didn't happen, and officers here then firing rubber bullets to open up the road to allow for traffic coming in and out of Ennerdale to be able to pass here at this main road on James Street, on the R557 as well. But right now, if you just look, our cameraman Sam Gau, he is just on the visuals of the protesters that have moved in. We earlier on spoke to one of the organizers of the total shutdown, and he had told us that they had an arrangement that by 4 o'clock things would have been done. Theirs was a peaceful march. There have been elements that have hijacked this shutdown of the day, and they distanced themselves from what they call youngsters that have hijacked the protest, the shutdown rather.
Mahlako, who are they throwing rocks at from this vantage point? We know that the cameraman and yourself are facing them, but who are they throwing rocks at?
They're throwing rocks at JMPD officers and obviously some members of the media that happen to be the side. And there are actually other members of the community. I'm just going to ask Sam to just move towards his right. This is where the rocks are. This is the direction that the rocks are going to, because some members that were protesting, some community residents that were protesting here earlier on had come to try and help JMPD clean up the road to make way for people coming from work and those leaving the area to be able to free up the traffic. So these rocks are going in this direction, the people that were cleaning, and some of the JMPD officers that were also cleaning this main road leading into the Ennerdale community. So that's where the rocks are going.
What is the community leadership saying? Are there any of them present there at the scene, and what are they communicating?
Yes, we have some of them that are here. We had spoken to one earlier, Mr. Morris Norris, that had told us that theirs was until 4 o'clock. It was a peaceful shutdown, a peaceful protest, and they had an agreement that by 4 o'clock they would be done. And they then left, but the protest was then hijacked by what they call rogue elements, what they call youngsters who had then come and decided to continue. There were new tires that were brought onto the scene that were also lit, which was they were trying to clear up. JMPD and some community members were trying to clear that up. But they had said that this was not part of the plan. They were meant to finish at 4 o'clock. That was their agreement. So they distanced themselves from what is happening now. That has then resulted in JMPD having to fire rubber bullets to disperse a crowd that wouldn't go. And I earlier had said that the particular crowd that was here earlier, that was dispersed by JMPD, there was a lot of drinking that was going on. And earlier on, they had also started throwing rocks at police officers and JMPD officers as well.
Has there been any destruction or stones being thrown to cars? I'm seeing them trying to navigate their way in and out. Has there been any damage at all to any property or vehicles?
Well, earlier on we did see some of that crowd that was dispersed beating on people's cars, but visible damage we were not able to see, but cars were threatened, and as well as drivers. But Peter, I have one of the community leaders with me, Elton, and he's just going to tell us about what actually happened here. What is it that occurred? There seem to be two different groups here at the moment. Elton, can you just please tell us what is it that happened here? Why it resulted in JMPD having to disperse the crowd?
You see, we as the leaders, we were finished just now already. We packed up and everything was done. So these youngsters decided they're going to have a bash here and have an after party like. So us leaving here, they decided to take over and then started drinking and that. And at the end of the day, this is the end result now. They want violence, then maybe they would achieve something, I don't know. But we as leaders, we don't know anything, and we don't condone this at all. So that's why I gave JMPD the right. They asked me what must they do, and I said to them they know what to do, because their lives is in danger as much as our lives.
But why are they throwing rocks at you as well? What is it that's going on?
Because apparently now we're standing against them.
We came as leaders and we asked them. We came as leaders and we asked them to please leave this premises because the shutdown is over now.
Yeah, Peter, we have JMPD right now shooting rubber bullets at protesters, trying to disperse them. And as I said, that there was a particular crowd that had moved one direction. And as you will hear from the background and actually see, rubber bullets are going off. That was the direction of the crowd that was throwing rocks at the JMPD officers as well as some member of the community. You'll also see that what I'm looking at right now is also what looks like little children also throwing rocks at police officers and some members of the community. What these members have said that they are part of the leadership of the total shutdown.
Not totally in control what's happening on the ground, that there are elements that are acting on their own.
Yes, it would definitely seem that there are two groups at the moment, what has turned into two groups, with police officers obviously having to now try and disperse that particular crowd who then refuses to go home. As we'd heard from the community leader earlier on, that they had packed up at 4 o'clock, but then what happened was the protest had then turned into some sort of a bash or a party with what they call some members of the community throwing rocks at JMPD officers as well as some members of the community. For right now, at the moment, traffic is a little bit, people have parked their cars on the side, unable to move, I think waiting for JMPD to finish doing their job of dispersing the crowd.
All right, Mahlako, we're going to leave it for the time being there, but it's a concern seeing these images. There seems to be an escalation of what's been happening.
Yeah.
And the fear, of course, is once the sun goes down and things go dark,
anything
then
is possible.
People start to do things under the cover of darkness. For the time being, police and the JMPD doing this best as they can to try and make sure that traffic continues to flow through. But as they were saying there, these young people, youth, talking about an after party and drinking, sort of taking it's their own turn in terms of what's happening there. So that's a disturbing scene, and it's, as I said, about 5:45 now. The sun will be going down shortly, and the JMPD officials there will certainly have their hands full once that happens.
Certainly disturbing.